The show focused on delivering beneficial information on everything to do with products and services that can improve your life. This is Experts on Call on AM 650.
Welcome back to the program. Sean Lang is with us from Interprovincial Roof Consultants in Cloverdale. Also in studio with us today is Blair Bennett, BC Regional Manager for Suprema, a roof membrane manufacturers, I guess, with four distribution points across Canada, the closest of which is Chilliwack, BC, headquarters back there in Quebec,
yes,
and a 100-year-old company that's, and we were talking earlier about the warranties and how some companies use, and car makers do this too sometimes, buy this vehicle and you'll have a warranty, you can drive it forever, you know, and so some companies, roofing product companies, Blair, use their warranty as a sales feature.
Right.
That could be a red flag from a consumer point of view in some cases.
Sure. I mean, you're following the manufacturer and maybe his agent or rep and saying, you know, it's 30 years or lifetime or whatever they're going to use.
Yeah.
But, you know, the big number at the top of the page is one thing, but there's a whole lot of fine print underneath, and people don't always read that fine print. And
right.
Having professionals like Sean to interpret that stuff is key when making a decision that could be, you know, 6-7 figure deal on a building.
Absolutely. Now, Sean, a lot of this, warranties notwithstanding, a lot of this has to do with the job being done right in the first place. Mm-hmm. One of the things that you do at Interprovincial Roof Consultants is coordinate bids. Mm-hmm. You absolutely help, and I'm talking now a strata environment here.
Yes.
You would help the strata council determine, first of all, what repairs need to be made, mm-hmm. And then put out bids, assemble a half a dozen or 4 or 5 bids mm-hmm. from people who are all bidding from a very specific sheet of specifications.
That's right.
So everybody knows exactly what's wrong, and everybody gets a chance to say, here's how we'll fix it.
Exactly. We write the specifications to deal with all the issues that we found when we reviewed the project in the beginning.
Right.
So if it's an entire roof replacement, then we go right from the deck up, and we replace all the drains, we replace all the plumbing vent flashings and all the breather vents and any metal flashings around the building that affect the roof system, even dealing with some minor wall issues and maybe even skylights if the skylights are old and all that. It's all written into the specification.
Sure.
So when we pick all 5 contractors, and we like to use 5,
okay,
we know that every one of those contractors is fully capable of doing the job. So really the low bidder is the obvious choice because we know that we've pre-approved all those contractors. We know they're good for it. The problem arises when we run into an owner or a client who insists on using somebody's contractor, Johnny's Roofing, let's say.
Right.
And we don't know
my brother-in-law's roofing company.
There you go.
Right.
So now we've got a contractor that maybe we're not very well accompanied with.
Yeah.
And we don't know what their workforce knows. So if they were to get awarded the project, because they were low bid, and in those cases they quite often end up being low bid because they don't know how to interpret the specification properly.
Right.
So now they've misread the specification or they didn't catch a certain part of it.
So already they're not doing it right.
So the shortcuts start from day one.
Right.
But never mind all of that. Maybe they don't even know how to properly apply the roof system that's specified, and some of them require certain training.
Right, and you were saying, Blair, that in your Cloverdale shop over the winter especially, you've been doing a lot of training with this latest level of SBS roofing products. It has to be applied in a certain way, and it only works if it's applied in a certain way.
Right.
And a lot of people in the business need to have their skill set upgraded and do it right.
Yeah, and staying ahead of the curve of all the trends in the industry and different detailing and procedures that maybe make the roof application more safe for the building. Mm-hmm. So, you know, just because you're a roofer for 30 years doesn't mean you're doing it right for 30 years. The technology has changed, and, you know, we have professional Red Seal guys, ticketed journeyman roofers who are teaching proper application techniques. So we invite the roofer to come in. It's a smaller group. It's a 2-day course. There's practical and theoretical components to it.
Right.
And it proves at least a base level understanding of basic stuff as well as the more specific system-related stuff.
And Sean, the people that you would be collecting when you're assembling those 5 bids, chances are, would be people that you're comfortable with, having received the sort of upgrade training that Blair's been working on all winter long.
Exactly. They've gone to the workshops. They've had another thing that Blair's company does offer, and so do some other manufacturers as well. But their field techs will come out and basically work with a crew for a couple of hours, depending on the needs of the crew, to actually walk them through the process of installing the roof system.
Right, yeah, you mentioned this earlier,
at the end of the
Blair,
day, nobody wants to see, they don't want to see their product being misapplied.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
It just looks bad on their product. It looks bad on everybody if the contractor doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate that as consultants, because we're not hired to teach the roofers. We're not hired to train the crews. That's the roofing contractor's responsibility.
Absolutely.
He's supposed to train his workers.
Right.
He's supposed to provide them with all the knowledge they're supposed to have. So if they don't have it and they need that little bit of extra training, Supremo's guys will come out and actually provide that.
On site.
On site.
Yeah.
As well as they have monthly seminars that are put on at their facility to train them on certain aspects.
Okay, so lots of options there for roofing companies. And do they all know who you are, Blair? Do they all come to? They're aware at least that
he's known.
that these upgrade possibilities are there, and then it's their call as to whether they go and get those skills upgraded or not.
Yeah, we're in constant communication with that side of the industry, so we're always out there in their face. Hey, this is a new product. Here's how we do it. Come into the shop, and we're going to teach it on such and such a day.
I'm about to give Sean's website. What's Suprema's?
Suprema.ca.
Nice and easy. Soprema, SOPREMA.ca. And, of course, Interprovincial Roof Consultants' website, Sean, is IPRC.ca.
You got it.
Nice to see you again.
You too as well.
Thanks for bringing Blair along. Good to meet you,
it was
Blair.
fun.
That was a good session. We've learned a lot.
Oh, great.
A little bit more, I hope. We all know a little bit more about roofing, and if you need a little reinforcement, check out iprc.ca. That's it for this episode of Experts on Call. See you next time.